Hey, what's up, YouTube? Undercover Redneck here. I have been doing so much carving lately that I really haven't had a chance to do any other type of videos but on carving. And I've gotten right into it. But, I want to take a little break from the carving and I wanted to share with you guys my knife collection. I wanted to talk to you about, and what I've done here, you can see them laid out. They're laid out in order in which I got them. And I've had a lot of knives in my life that I've lost. Unfortunately, I'm kind of ashamed to tell you that, but I've lost a lot of really nice knives. Lately, just lost a case knife, a nice knife. I liked it a lot. But anyway, so what do? You move on. But these are the knives I have now. These are not all the knives. I've got a lot of carving knives. I've got kitchen knives coming out my you-know-what. I just love knives. I don't know if you do, but I want to share with you what I have, so I put them in order as early as I can remember when I received them. In other words, this is one of the first knives I can ever remember having, right? And then moving that way. So I'm going to start out right here. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk to you about this knife. This is a Camillus. I don't know what year this thing was made, but if you've ever heard of Camillus knives, they're made in Camillus, New York. And it's a good quality knife. I'm going to be honest with you, it's not my everyday carry because it's thick. You put it in your pocket and it's like, carrying half a 9mm mag in your pocket all the time. Well made, durable, strong, keeps an edge. Love the knife. But it's like I said, it's thick. You put it in your pocket, it's like, you're carrying something heavy in your pocket all the time. So, but anyway, Camillus knife, hard to say. I can remember skinning a deer with this thing when I was a kid. As a matter of fact, the next knife I have here is a Western knife that my dad gave me. And I've skinned a lot of deer, but before that I used this guy right here. And you can see it's got the old-timey locking mechanism on it, which, to be honest with you, I don't use it that much just because I don't trust it. Right? I don't really trust it. It's plastic, and it was before its time. I'm not exactly sure how good of a good protection that gives me. Camillus. All right. I don't know what year it is, but it's old. It's old. So I got this knife. My dad got me this knife when I was 13 years old. It's like one of those sacred things that the sheath is in immaculate condition, except there was a little bit of mold in there. I got that taken care of. But anyway, my dad gave me this when I started hunting. I guess I was about 13, and I'm 54 now. So what was that? 40 years ago? And that knife's at least 40 years old. It says on the side, I don't know if you can read that. It says Western. Hold on a minute. You can see that. Western USA 66. I don't know if he bought this in 1966. What the deal is on it, but the only thing I've done with this knife in that time is skin deer with it, which is not what you call high impact usage, right? It's stainless steel. It's got some tarnish on it. You see it? A little bit of tarnishing. Needs to be cleaned really well. But I keep an edge. I keep an edge on my knives, guys. I don't have knives that don't have a beautiful edge on them. Matter of fact, I try to get them the edge, a mirror finish on it. But anyway, I don't see any nicks in this one. Looks really nice. But the handle's leather, and it's got the rat tail end on it. So I know it's not a full tang, but it's a stout knife. I like the tip. It's great for skinning. Great knife. Love it, right? I need to ask my dad. It says 66. If he bought it in 66 and gave it to me when I was 13 and just held on to it, or what he did. I don't know. That's a good question, but I'm going to ask him. So anyway, Western, I'd say that's probably, what, 4 or 5 inch? Yeah, 4-inch blade. Maybe a little less. Okay, so that's my Western hunting knife. And then next, I found this knife. It says old timer on it. I don't know if you can see that. This is old timer. It's fitting because I'm an old timer. But this is actually made by Schrade. This knife is actually made by Schrade. You can see it's got some pitting. Again, I got this thing out of the trash. It was all rusted. I took it out and just worked it, and this is what I've got, right? I'm gonna guess it's probably been this knife has not been anywhere but in my house. It may have been in my pocket 3 or 4 times, but look, I just want to demonstrate. Look at it's already got rust. I mean, I just cleaned this thing. So it's an old knife. Don't really know how long I've had it. I've had it a long time though, right? Young adulthood, I found this knife, and just years later worked on it. The next knife is a knife, used to be my dad's knife. This is a sharp knife made by, that's the name of it. It's not that it is sharp, but it is sharp, but it is sharp too. It's Japanese. This is called the Sharp 300. It's all stainless. I'm just gonna say it. This knife, and it's got a good edge on it, but this knife, as far as the condition of the steel, it might be one of the cleanest knives I have. And even this knife is probably thinner. Yeah, so check this out, right? When it comes to putting one in your pocket, which one are you going to put in your pocket? This thing is wider than this sharp. So even still, by today's standards, that's a thick, wide knife, which is something I like about it because it's durable. You can see the back of this thing is all steel through here. It's very rigid. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's just like a full tang knife. It's not. I understand that, but it's a very, very stout knife. It's durable. It's got a nice handle. I like the way it's cut out, right? And it's clean. This steel it's really good steel, and it kind of kills me to say that, right? But not in a bad way. I don't have anything against the Japanese, but try to buy what's in America, right? I do. All right, the next knife I want to talk to you about is my Gerber. It's my camping knife. I bought this, you can see the order that I bought this thing in, right? So, young adulthood, right? I got this thing probably, I'd say probably 10 years ago, I'm gonna guess. I've had this thing 10 years. It's just a Gerber camp knife. It's a full tang knife, and it's just got rubber grips on it. That's all it is, cheap rubber grips. But I know how to sharpen it, and it's got a really nice edge on it right now. Doesn't hold his edge like some of the other knives I have, but it works. It works. And you know what? The serrations are nice to be able to rip some wood apart if it's been raining out. You know, and I'm trying to get it some dry wood. But I use this generally as a backup knife. I don't use it as a primary knife. It's in one of my bags as a backup. So it's got a decent spine on it. It'll strike a ferro rod. So anyway, I'd say that's probably about a 4-inch blade or so, maybe 4.5. I don't know. But anyway, Gerber. It's just called the camping knife. I think I paid $30 for it, something like that. And they've got this. I just want to show you this sheath it came with, right? It's got a liner. I'm not sure if it's Kydex. It's probably plastic, but it does have a liner in that sheath, which I kind of like. All right, next, getting into the big daddies here now. This is a what do you think that is? That's a Benchmade. This is a Benchmade Siebert Bushcrafter 162. A lot of people bang on the sheaths. I'm going to talk about the sheath in a minute. But you take this knife out of your pocket and you start whittling with it or cutting with it or hitting a rod with it or something. It's like a Corvette, man. I mean, it's super sharp. It's durable. It cleans up with a wipe. You know, whatever you've got, wipe it on your pants, which I do all the time. But this thing is a monster. It's got a great, holds an edge like you would not believe. But that could be a downer too, right? Because when you're trying to sharpen it, especially in the field, it's nearly impossible to, unless you got a vise. I haven't become proficient at sharpening it. Let me put it that way. So I was using it at the mountains camping, I guess probably over the winter, and I put a nick in a chip in the blade right up in this area here. And you know what? I wanted to see, Benchmade's got a lifetime warranty, and I wanted to see if they'd replace it. And it so happens they also have a lifetime sharpening program. I don't know if you're familiar, if you have a Benchmade or not, but anyway, I sent it back to them, and it took them about 3 weeks. They sent it back. They didn't give me a new knife, but they sharpened this one, and it is this is a sharp knife, guys. Really is. Am I gonna take this, if I'm forced to leave my home? Am I gonna take this knife with me as a primary, no other knife with me? No. And I'll tell you why. And it's because it is so hard to sharpen. I'm not proficient at sharpening it yet. I'm working on it. This knife came back with a lot of tool marks in it, which is to be expected. And I'm trying to get all those tool marks out with some really fine stones I've got and a strop. And they don't like to come out. They don't like to come out. So it's harder to sharpen, and it holds its edge longer. If I become proficient at sharpening this thing, it'll become my standard, this is my knife and no other knife, right, type of thing. But I'm not there yet. So I've got a couple other knives to do this, to fill that area until that happens. But beautiful knife, strong, durable, and it looks good. It just flat out looks good. It's got the grip, and I know there's a ton of reviews online on this knife, but this is my knife. I'm just giving you my take on it. But the handle, the way the handle's formed, you know, I guess what it does is it prevents it prevents the knife from coming back like this on you, right? So if you got a really good grip on it, that thing is not going to come back into your hand and cut your finger. It's just not, when you get a grip on it. Okay, but there it is. Benchmade Seabird Bushcrafter 162. Beautiful knife. A lot of people bang the sheath. I don't know why. I mean, it's not the best sheath. It came with the knife, but you know, I'm guessing I've had this knife about 4 years, and I've been in rainstorms. I've fallen in creeks and stuff with this thing on, and recently what I did is I treated it with beeswax, but you know what, it's a sheath. It's not, you know, would I like a real genuine leather? Yeah, I would, but this one works for now. I don't use the dangler at all. I hate the dangler, as a matter of fact, and I got a ferro rod that goes in there that's in the house that I carry with me. All right, so my son, I have a son. He's 23, and he loves knives. And so some time ago, I started buying the BK line for him. He's got all of them. He's got, I believe he's got the Gephardt. He's got the BK2, the 7, the 9. I'm trying to remember what other K-bars there are, but anyway, so the idea was I was gonna, you know, get him a different knife, a different Becker knife every year until he had them all. That was the theory behind it. And I got him a BK7, and I was checking it out, and I went, whoa, that is an awesome knife. That is an awesome knife. So I got one for myself. I put some grips on it. These are some micarta grips that I bought online. I'm gonna be honest with you, I like them better than the standard grips, but they absorb liquids. It'll absorb oil. Like if I put some oil on my knife and it happens, you know, I happen to get some on the grip, it'll absorb into the grip. So I don't know, but it feels good in the hand, right? It feels good in the hand. It's got it's a stout feeling knife. I mean, you feel like you're right. You can conquer the world with this thing in your hand. I know I can't, but it makes me feel that way. I'm working on some grips, some wood grips for the other one, and the idea is just to try to, just for the fun of it, try to carve some grips. But this knife is awesome. The only thing I don't like about this knife is it's so big. So by the time it's in a sheath, you try getting in a car with it, and it's like you got a giant hook on your waistband. Everything catches on it. And but as far as the knife goes, I love it. It's beautiful. It's awesome, right? So anyway, and it's easy to sharpen, like most high carbon blades are. It's easy to sharpen. So anyway, that's my BK7. And the last knife I've purchased is a BK2. And I'll tell you why I got the BK2. For the reason I just told you the drawback to this knife was, and that is it's not as long. It's like maybe a third shorter, something like that. But this is a Valhalla sheath that I bought with it. Bought it online, and it's Kydex, obviously. So before I had this knife, I had bought a C3 sheath for that knife right there. And the reason I like the C3 is because it came apart. It had screws in it. I could take the screws out and clean inside of it. But I traded away to my son. We swapped something. But this knife right here is awesome, guys. That's a good knife. It'll do everything I need it to do. And I can put that on my waist and not have to worry about, getting hung up on my seatbelt or whatever. But I'm probably going to do is put some grips on that thing and call it a day and just use it. But look at the edge. More tool marks. I know that's the way it came from the factory. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get all the tool marks out of it. If you can see it or not. I'm working on it. Stropping it. I got like a 10,000 grit stone in the house, just working on it a little bit at a time, get all the marks out of it. But anyway, that's my knife collection. I hope my video wasn't too long. You know what, I'd really like to hear from you guys, what kind of knives you have, what your favorite knives are. What I carry is going to be different than what you carry. Maybe there's something I can add to my collection here. Tell me what you think. And but I would appreciate if you liked my video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you taking the time out and your support. And Undercover Redneck out.